Hi, I'm Owen Casey Stevens, and this is a story of how my wife and I rear-ended a highway patrol vehicle on the highway in our car. There's some bad decision-making in this story on the part of my wife and I. We're older and wiser and chastised now, so we don't make decisions that are quite that stupid. I recommend that you learn from our wisdom and experience rather than trying to follow our earlier example. The worst decision starts with this. It was a tradition of my wife and I, whenever there was severe weather, especially if it knocked out the television and internet connections to our house, to go see a movie. So if there was a tornado warning, which was pretty common since we were in Oklahoma, or a severe thunderstorm, lightning storm, flash flooding, we would leave the relative safety of our apartment, get in our car, and drive through the dangerous lightning-inflicting dark in order to get to a large building that was definitely not as safe as our apartment, where we didn't know the exits or the emergency procedures as well, so we could be entertained. We don't do that anymore. On the night in question of this particular story, the severe weather was an ice storm. There was ice on everything. There was ice on the street, there was ice on our car, there was ice on the sidewalk, there was ice on the power cables. We had power, but our cable and therefore internet cable was cut when some cable line somewhere went down. We could have just read a book, but that's not the choice we made. Instead, we got in our car, having chiseled enough ice on it that we could just barely see through the windshield, and we got on the highway to drive to the nearest movie theater. And we were not going fast, maybe 10 miles an hour. We definitely thought we were being sufficiently cautious. And up ahead, as we came around a turn in the highway at one point, little two-lane highway, Highway 9 for those of you that know it, we saw several highway patrol cars with their lights flashing, blocking the lane of the highway that we were on because there had been a wreck. Ice storm wreck makes sense. So my wife was driving and she started to apply the brakes, which had no appreciable effect on the speed or trajectory of our vehicle. She tried the emergency brake, she tried steering to see if we could steer in another lane or even steer ourselves into the ditch rather than hit what is already a wreck. And pumping the brakes did slow the car down. The emergency brake did slow the car down, but it did not come to a stop until we bumped the rear bumper of the highway patrol car right in front of us with enough momentum for us to be rocked in our seats up against our seatbelts. And, well, we were mortified. We were mortified and we were terrified because we just rear-ended a highway patrol vehicle on the highway during an ice storm. Very nice policewoman came around. My wife was able to get her window down. And they had a brief conversation that went something like this. Hi, what are you folks doing out here tonight? We were going to go see a movie. A movie? You're going to see a movie in an ice storm? Yes, ma'am. Uh-huh. Well, I see that you all were trying to stop. We've been watching your taillights flash on the ice for the past 2 or 3 minutes, but you did hit my car. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We're very sorry about that. Yes, ma'am. All right, well, it doesn't look like you did any damage, so I'm inclined to just let you off with a warning. But I do want to know, are you all still going to a movie tonight? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. We'll go home. We'll go home and we won't be out here. And in the future, when there's severe weather, are you going to leave your home and get out on the road? No, ma'am. No, that doesn't seem like a good idea. No, ma'am. We'll stay home. If we don't have an emergency of some kind, we won't get on the highway during severe weather. Good. I think that's a good choice. So you all have a nice night now. Window went up, and the highway patrol officers helped back up our car and actually physically turned it some until we got a little traction. And at more like 1/10 of a mile, we very, very carefully drove home, and that was in fact the end of our tradition of going out to see a movie in severe weather just because we were bored. If you want to avoid being bored in the future when perhaps your connection to the internet is down, you might try playing a game, like say a role-playing game. And if you do, you might be interested in my 52 and 52 role-playing game program. Pre-orders are still open for it. It is a new game product a week, every week for the year 2020. The games are all released for 4 game systems, Pathfinder 1st and 2nd Edition, and Starfinder and 5e. So if you play any of those games, you get a whole year's worth of products. It's currently $29.95. I'll put a link down in the description below. And if you enjoy these Storytime videos, which you probably do need the internet to enjoy, you can join my Patreon and help support me in having spare time to make more videos. Bye, folks.